Have you ever stopped to think why, sometimes, it feels like the biggest conflict isn't with other people, but inside yourself? Have you felt your mind overflowing, as if you're trying to be accepted, to please, while secretly wishing you could break free from everything that holds you back? How often have you believed your greatest battle was with your boss, someone in the family, or anyone who doesn't understand you, only to realize the real fight is with your own silent doubts? And if the struggle to be heard or respected by the world was only a reflection of your fears, desires, and insecurities, you're carrying them, almost without noticing. Is it really possible to find calm on the outside if the war within never ends? What if all these conflicts aren't pushing you away, but inviting you to look inside and discover new strengths? Today, I invite you to dive into these invisible battles and uncover the real power inside every internal struggle nobody else can see. Have you ever felt that tension in your chest when you walk into a room, like everyone's locked in a silent war, even if things look calm on the outside? Sometimes a casual dinner table conversation turns into a storm. Other times, a tiny mistake at work feels like the end of the world. And behind every argument, every demand, there's always inner confusion. The longing to be accepted fighting against the fear of letting someone down. The urge to speak your mind clashing with the need to avoid conflict. The impulse to change battling the terror of losing what you already know. It's easy to point fingers at others and see them as villains. The colleague's criticism, family pressure, that sideways glance that makes you feel small. But often what unsettles you starts long before anything external. It begins with little concessions. Silent moments you keep, desires you swallow out of fear of judgment or rejection. Every time you bury your truth, not to cause trouble, a bit of yourself fades away, and the cost comes during exhaustion, insomnia, or that lingering sense of, am I really living? In the family, it is like balancing plates, trying to please everyone without forgetting yourself, working to keep old guilt from surfacing, seeking acceptance from eyes that don't always see the real you. At work, the battle is between results and boundaries, the tension of accepting tasks, refusing what goes too far, delivering as expected without becoming crushed in the process. Everyone seems fine, but it takes just one detail to make things heavy. Nobody wants to admit it, but everyone feels it. Eventually, we learn that running from conflict doesn't solve anything. Putting off difficult talks only turns sparks into hidden embers, and they return even stronger in small explosions or painful distance. Silence might seem like a shield, but it becomes a wall, raising barricades in relationships, draining your energy, weighing on your mind. Maybe the secret isn't winning arguments or forcing peace, but seeing every clash as an invitation to really know yourself, understand your own pace, and align dreams and limits. The biggest challenge is allowing yourself to feel, name what bothers you, and face your own doubts without shame or guilt. Not to become a master of balance, but to finally see yourself as whole, able to make it through any conflict and emerge stronger every single time. You know those scenes that go unnoticed, but repeat almost every day. In your living room, someone sighs, slams a plate down, someone snaps back, and others just lower their heads. At the office, a group isolates itself. The boss demands deadlines, and people smile on the outside, but are fighting silent battles within. Life is packed with these tiny confrontations, a demand that enters, an ignored phone call. Silence is more painful than open arguments. But what almost no one realizes is how much of that tension begins or ends much earlier than it seems, and always from within. Most of our external conflicts are a faithful reflection of what we carry, store, and silence. You might wake up in a bad mood, snap at someone before coffee, say, "I'm fine," even when you aren't. Sometimes a single glance is enough to trigger irritation. Every simple gesture, every word swallowed, accumulates inside. It becomes stomach pain, shoulder tightness, insomnia, unexplained fatigue. Avoiding discomfort seems easy, but only pushes forward something that grows, and someday breaks through unexpectedly. Family is almost always the central stage of this script, not for the fights themselves, but for what's hidden to avoid arguments. Every time you don't say something so you don't hurt anyone, another layer is added to the wall of distance. Bonds become barriers. Parents who demand without listening, kids who fall silent not to disappoint, siblings pulled apart by unresolved grudges. Fear of breaking a pattern invents comfort zones full of tension, where everyone plays a part, and all end up missing real connection. At work, the challenge looks different, but the essence remains. Fear of losing position, pressure for results, constant doubts about your value. You walk into meetings weighing every word, rethink before disagreeing with your boss, work overtime not to attract criticism, but a single harsh comment or a stacked-up task can blow open everything you've been hiding. Suddenly comes the stress, self-judgment, the urge to disappear. For many, it feels like physical exhaustion, but it's the mind screaming for help, worn out by small concessions and big denied wishes. It's amazing how much we try to avoid conflict, yet end up prisoners of it. We strive to be flexible, seek harmony, dodge rupture. But this endless swallowing of feelings turns into disappointment, anxiety, a sense of losing something important. One day, your body cries out what words can't express. Unexplained pains appear. Illnesses sprout from the cracks in your silence, issues driven more by the soul than the world outside. People who avoid discussions in search of peace eventually discover, too late, that living without conflict isn't happiness, but numbness. Relationships become shallow. Joy always feels temporary, and your urge to change runs smack into fear buried deep. This fear of disappointing, losing, being judged, feeds the self-sacrifice cycle, turning each ordinary day into a minefield for your own feelings. But it's not all bleak. The same conflict that wears you down can also wake you up, showing where things need to change. Relationships that face the truth grow up. Difficult conversations approached honestly unlock fresh beginnings. Recognizing discomfort as a signal and not an enemy gives you the chance to see every conflict as a lab for discovery, transformation, and growth. Adulthood requires courage to ask tough questions. Why do certain situations annoy you so much? Why do some criticisms hurt more? What's hiding behind that daily discomfort? Accepting that not everything will feel easy is the beginning of freedom, because often living better means not dodging storms, but learning to walk through them straight. Facing conflict means choosing between staying stuck in sameness or risking real growth. Every fight you pass through without escaping teaches about limits, reveals what needs to change, exposes what you repeat out of habit rather than choice. Learning to stand your ground, defend your beliefs, offer sincere apologies, and accept your own errors opens paths to more mature relationships, honest environments, and lighter coexistence with yourself. Conflict unmasks who we are when free from fear of rejection. It breaks old masks. It lets you reconsider values and create new ways of being. It's neither easy nor fast. It takes practice, patience, willingness to fail, to start over. Admit vulnerability. It demands listening to others and to yourself, and humility to know no one leaves a crisis unchanged. And bit by bit, you see the real struggle isn't with your boss, your partner, or what life throws at you. It's with those internal parts you've neglected, with the wish to be accepted at any cost, with the illusion there's only one right way to live. Behind every anger, there's pain. Behind every defense, insecurity. Behind every conflict, the wish to be seen, respected, recognized. Being an adult is about constant building and rebuilding. It's allowing yourself to change, to ask forgiveness, to drop useless battles, to seek meaning where before there was only survival. Conflict ends when you realize true peace comes from understanding yourself deeply. It's possible to be kind to others without losing yourself. It's possible to please without self-abandonment. It's possible, finally, to turn confrontation into self-conquest. When you start seeing conflict as an opportunity, not an enemy, you notice every challenging moment can be a source of self-discovery. Like observing how you react to criticism, in family, at work, or with friends, you can spot which old wounds still shape your behavior today. Maybe that discomfort when hearing negative feedback reminds you how you always had to please, or the quiet guilt for letting down someone important in the past. These links between past and present shape your conflict patterns. Many adults replay behaviors they learned long ago, protecting themselves from pain in ways that don't fit their life anymore. Growing up means reviewing attitudes, understanding why you react so strongly, digging up the source of over-criticism or your struggle to accept mistakes. This process hurts, but it's freeing. Only by recognizing the origin of your defenses or resistance can you choose new responses for today's challenges. Rethinking conflicts is also a call to expand empathy. When you look at others and see they're battling their own ghosts, it becomes easier to let go of defending with attacks or isolation. Then comes room to ask, to listen, to accept not every moment needs to be war. Mature relationships blossom in balance between confrontation and warmth, disagreement and respect. For this, it's key to give up wanting to control others, focusing on what's within reach, your own attitude in the face of challenge. One of the biggest lessons is seeing every tough situation as a clue about your boundaries. At work, refusing an impossible task, even if it risks getting a bad rep, brings discomfort, but also freedom. In your family, saying, "I can't carry this alone anymore," might start arguments, but it makes space for new arrangements and real needs. Always turning to silence to force harmony only increases the burden of the unsaid and can turn small hurts into big gaps. Through practice, small daily trials, you get better at handling conflict. A brave talk here, a pause to reflect there. Learning to say sorry, to really listen to criticism, to negotiate without sacrificing essential things. It's not about chasing perfection, but exercising flexibility, humility, above all, self-compassion. Every tiny step forward is evolution. It's vital to understand this journey of self-conquest has no final stop. Handling conflict with maturity means admitting failures, stumbles, misunderstandings, and vulnerability are part of the process. The adult who steps into this runs into more sincere relationships, less oppressive places, and a lighter everyday life. It doesn't guarantee no pain, but it lessens loneliness and increases confidence to navigate each hard moment with hope and renewed wisdom. Deep down, the difference between those who grow and those who repeat is a willingness to walk through discomfort, to risk a talk, to leave room for unanswered questions. Real conflict doesn't hunt for winners. It sparks discovery, movement, courage to be yourself, even if that means reviewing beliefs, dropping old habits, and testing new paths for your history. When you begin to look at conflict honestly, you discover it's not just pain or wear, but a real source of growth. The greatest benefit is realizing that by embracing both internal and external turmoil, you truly learn about yourself and the world. Every confrontation faced with courage is an opportunity for evolution, refining expectations, and building less fragile, more sincere relationships. The first gain is the freedom to take a stand. You stop being a prisoner of passivity or aggression because you start to choose, consciously, how you want to respond. No longer do you have to please everyone, nor do you lose yourself chasing perfection. You can say yes or no without guilt, recognize your limits, accept your weaknesses. Over time, the fear of rejection fades, and you allow yourself to be more genuine, both in actions and words. In family relations, the clearest benefit is reducing built-up tension. Old conversations, impossible distances, slowly lose power when you open space for real dialogue. The atmosphere lightens, bonds strengthen, because authenticity creates security and mutual respect. Demands gradually give way to understanding that everyone carries their own battles, and accepting this is part of the collective maturity process. At work, facing conflicts becomes a powerful tool for negotiation and growth. You learn to handle critiques without destruction, to request feedback, and to share opinions with respect. The fear of making mistakes lessens, replaced by genuine desire to learn and improve. Mature teams navigate disagreements and come out more effective, creative, and united after each brave moment of honesty. Among friends, the benefit lies in deeper connections. Relationships that survive conflict become solid and true. There's no longer a need to feign agreement or hide differences out of fear of abandonment. Friendship becomes genuine support, granting permission to be yourself. No masks, no performance. On a personal level, perhaps the greatest benefit is feeling peace with yourself. By listening to and facing your inner mess, you waste less energy trying to control others, develop compassion, gain strength to start over, and humility to appreciate your journey. Life becomes lighter. The body finds energy. The mind settles. The process of self-conquest is really about freeing yourself from old wounds and opening space for new possibilities, not running from difficulty, but becoming more whole and prepared for what truly matters. When you pursue self-conquest, you gain resilience to weather hard times without losing yourself, develop empathy to see others beyond judgments, and boost your emotional independence. Self-care ceases to be a luxury and becomes a necessity. Routine transforms. Challenges are faced with less fear. Victories are celebrated, however small, and your sense of belonging to yourself grows. The cycle closes this way. By facing conflict, you break old limits and discover the true meaning of maturity and fulfillment. Reaching the end of this journey through conflict and self-conquest is realizing that nothing you've lived was pointless. Every crisis, every missed connection, every painful silence served not only to show your weaknesses, but your hidden strengths, the ones that only surface when you're forced to reinvent yourself. The most powerful conclusion is that there's no life without conflict. There's only life without the courage to face it. And that's where the difference lies between mere survival and true transformation. Little by little, those who face their inner turmoil stop seeing the world as an endless battlefield and begin to view it as fertile ground for growth. You learn to distinguish what is your responsibility from what belongs to others, value your own pace, and give time for what needs to mature. Instead of running from external confrontations, you start using each one to refine who you are, polish convictions, strengthen bonds, and renew expectations. Even failures gain new meaning. Only those who try make mistakes. Only those who expose themselves risk being hurt. Only those who accept starting over grow. Through this journey, you realize self-conquest is freedom, not absolute control. but true autonomy, free from the constant need for approval and dependence on public applause. You begin to genuinely accept yourself, celebrate inner results unseen by anyone else, and understand that being whole never meant being perfect. It means being true to what is essential for you, even when it goes against the world's gaze. Relationships change too. Bonds that survive confrontation become stronger and more authentic. It takes courage to sustain this new level, because not everyone will understand or keep up with your transformation. But you become more tolerant to what can't be changed, more patient with flaws, more open to daily learning. Your circle reorganizes, less quantity, more quality. When encounters happen, they are not just words exchanged. They become real opportunities for mutual growth. In the end, you see the greatest benefit of facing conflict isn't just solving problems, but creating meaning for your own journey. When you realize every pain faced, every hard conversation, every crisis gone through and overcome, forms the unique mosaic of your story. There's no way forward without stumbles, nor relationships without disagreement. But always, there's a chance to turn these experiences into the fertile ground for maturity, peace, and inner strength. The real challenge isn't eliminating everyday conflict, but transforming how you relate to it. Understanding that discomfort carries potential, that the courage to face what's hard opens doors to better versions of yourself, that no one escapes unease without giving up important parts of their own being. True self-conquest doesn't depend on the end of problems, but on the start of a new attitude, respecting your limits, looking inside, finding the strength to change what you can, and serenity to accept what you cannot. Yet. So, in closing, the message is clear. Don't fear conflict. Don't run from pain. Don't believe peace is just the absence of struggle. Real connection happens when you tackle your internal and external battles with open eyes and an honest heart, knowing that it's the storms that clear the sky. Self-conquest isn't a destination. It's a living, difficult, but essential process. And anyone who bravely walks this path discovers, in the end, that life's deepest meaning might be this: learning to cross through, and always emerging a little more whole on the other side.